will call to order the meeting of February 11th, Noblesville Common Council meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Johnson, if you will please lead us this evening.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Lees, will you call the roll?
Mr. Boyce?
Present.
Mr. Davis?
Present.
Mr. Elliott?
Present.
Mr. Johnson?
Present.
Mr. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Schwartz?
Present.
Mr. Smith?
Present.
Mr. Thurston?
Present.
Ms. Wiles?
Present.
Madam President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the executive session memorandum from January 28th, 2025.
Move to approve. Second. There we go. Good enough.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the executive session memorandum from January 28th. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Next is approval of the minutes from the January 28th joint meeting with the Noblesville School Board.
Move to approve. Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the January 28th joint meeting with the Noblesville School Board. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Approval of the minutes from January 28th, 2025 council meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the January 28th council meeting. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Approval of the agenda.
Madam President,
Mr. Davis.
I move to amend the agenda to consider miscellaneous number 5 and number 6 after miscellaneous number 4. Second.
It has been moved and seconded to amend the agenda to consider miscellaneous number 5 and number 6 after miscellaneous number 4. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0.
Madam President, I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Petitions or comments by citizens who are present. I do not have a comment card for anyone that's filled it out, but if you would like to make any comments, there are some on the back table. Once you complete it, bring it up to the clerk's desk, please. Council committee reports. Roads Committee, Mr. Boyce.
Thank you, Madam President. You were obviously there, and Mr. Schwartz decided he was going to take off of Mr. Ayers' old thing, and he showed up 10 minutes late, but did show up. And Todd Thurston had another engagement. I attended electronically. Some of the things we talked about: Pleasant Street Phase 2. The closure that is closed already is going to be closed till the end of the year. And also we have Pleasant Street west of 19th Street will be closed for 3 days for the Indian American Water Company to do their new culvert. Also then for the highway safety improvement, then we have American with Disabilities Act sidewalk work is going to be on 10th Street and going on throughout this year. It's in the design phase, but it will be going on throughout the whole year. We also have, for the local street rehabilitation, the first project is going to be bid on February 11th, and the second will be bid on March, so all of the street rehabilitation is moving forward as planned. And last thing I have is culvert over Greenfield Avenue, over Wheeler and Wheeler Drain Arm. Construction is going to begin on that in late March and will coincide with spring break so that we don't have to worry about any of the school traffic. If there are any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, but those are kind of the highlights of the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Boyce? Seeing none, we will move on to the Finance Committee. Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam President. We met February 6th. Pete Schwartz, Aaron Smith, Todd Thurston, and myself. We had an annual report presentation by the Hamilton County Community Foundation by Danielle Stiles-Polk and Anita Rogers. Caitlin Kesner talked to us about a resolution for year-end 2024, encumbrance of the Carry Forward Fund. Caitlin also discussed with us a subsidy payments to the Park Program Fund, and Jeff Spalding went over an ordinance for the Fire Cumulative Capital Fund tax rate reset for pay 2026. That and the claims come to the council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you, very-
Madam President,
Mr. Thurston.
move to approve the claims.
Second.
It is moved and seconded to approve the claims as presented. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Miscellaneous item number 1, council to consider resolution RC-9-25, a resolution approving an economic development agreement. And we will also consider resolution RC-10-25, a resolution approving an economic development agreement. And Mayor Jensen, I believe that you're going to come and share some comments with us.
Yes, good evening, Madam President, members of the council. It's great to be with you. I'm excited tonight to introduce you to Evolve Transport. Hopefully you saw earlier today that we made a major economic announcement for our community that we will be attracting Evolve Transport from their current home in Ohio to Noblesville, Indiana's Washington Business Park. Evolve Transporters is a leader in the design and manufacturing of custom transport solutions for the motorsports industry. They're going to be investing about $39 million in relocating their headquarters and manufacturing facilities, like I said, from Ohio to Noblesville's Washington Business Park. The city of Noblesville and Evolve Transporters share a common set of values that promote innovation and forward thinking, and I know they will be an asset to our community. This development highlights our state's deep connection to racing and its potential to attract industry leaders and talent. The Evolve Transporters headquarter relocation to the Noblesville area is a significant announcement for our region. I want to thank Andrew Murray and his entire team. You're going to hear from Chuck Haberman and Kayla Robinson here shortly. But we are just honored. This has been a project that's been on our radar for several months and had a chance to meet with them here in Noblesville to tell our story. Tonight I have Brad Kosow, who's their CEO, is with us. I'm going to invite him to the microphone first, if that's okay. I would love for him to tell you a little bit about the Evolve story and also why he chose Noblesville to make this major investment. But we're excited to have them as part of the Noblesville family and excited for you to hear from them tonight. So,
Great.
Brad?
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hi, Brad Casso with Evolve Transporters. We're at One High Tech, Painesville, Ohio, currently. And pleasure to see everybody this evening. We bought the business that is Evolve Transporters approximately 5 years ago. It was an acquisition of a legacy company that had been in existence for about 40 years. And what we do is design, build, and manufacture professional racing transporters. We do that at a very high level for all of the professional motorsport racing series and for a large number of the racing teams and the manufacturers that participate in those racing series. Quite a few of those are based here in Indianapolis. As our business has grown over the last 5 years, we've really started looking for an expansion opportunity, and the selection process for us had a few criteria. The people and the community was most important. We looked at our current home state of Ohio. We looked in the Charlotte market, which is a major motorsports community, as well as Indianapolis. And the team here in Noblesville and Mayor Jensen and the Economic Development Committee truly made the difference. So we're very excited to move into the community and become a part of the community, to invest in the community and look at this as a very long-term growth plan. For us, within the Indianapolis market, we also looked at a few things, in a 5, 7, and 10-year outlook. And it was very clear that Noblesville is investing in business, and that was very important to myself and our executive team. So excited to be here and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Welcome. Excited to see what you have to show us here in the coming months.
Yes.
Great.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Mr. Haberman.
Very exciting project indeed. Lots of hard work went into it. I'm going to kind of talk about the economic development agreements, as you mentioned, Madam President. We have two to go over right now. So the first will be the investment of $25 million for the real property, which is a 250,000 square foot headquarters and manufacturing facility in Washington Business Park. For reference. You can see the highlighted Lot 6 property there. And here is a quick picture of the rendering. So this will be developed by Patch Development. That's as far as it can zoom. So a great-looking building. So this will be a 10-year tax abatement in line with their 10-year lease. And then the second piece will be a $14 million investment in personal property to outfit the inside of the building for their manufacturing needs. And that will be a personal property tax abatement for 10 years again, graduating over time, over 10 years. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about the project or the details of the economic development agreements.
Can you share a little bit about the job growth that'll occur with this
Oh,
project?
yeah, absolutely. So, obviously with new business coming into town, that means new jobs. They'll sustain 70 employees that will be moving from Paynesville, Ohio. And then they'll grow 210 new employees by 2028 with an average wage of $32 an hour or $66,500 annually as an average wage.
Great, thank you. Other questions of Mr. Haberman?
You want to do the individual?
Yeah.
Madam President,
Mr. Davis.
I move to approve resolution RC-9-25 as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution RC-9-25 as presented. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0.
That one too.
Yeah, second one.
Madam President, I move to approve resolution RC-10-25 as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution RC-10-25 as presented. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is council to consider resolution RC-11-25, a resolution approving a personal property tax abatement with Kayla Robinson.
Hi, good evening, council. My name is Kayla Robinson. I serve as the Economic Development Manager for the City of Noblesville. I'm so ecstatic tonight to present two resolutions to you. We'll just kick this off with RC number 1125. This is the personal property tax abatement. This pretty much is summarized in the EDA agreement that you just approved by Chuck or Mr. Haberman. With that being said, this allows us to move the company here to Noblesville. They're going to make this their headquarters. It's going to contribute to, again, like Chuck noted, 210 jobs, average raise is $66,000 a year. We're really excited about this opportunity. I feel like this move is going to attract a lot of advanced manufacturing companies here and encourage our companies here to grow more. With that being said, I conclude my presentation and open the floor up for questions.
Any questions for Ms. Robinson?
No.
Mr. Thurston?
Madam President, I do want to just make one more comment about the agreements that we haven't talked about. But one of the things that we ask when we're doing these economic developments agreement is not for just the company to be here, but to be a part of the community. I loved hearing you say that. That's important to me. When we're looking at people who move here, Andrew and his team will tell you, I always ask a lot of questions about, but when they get here, what are they going to do? Are they going to be a part of the community? Are they going to support our youth in sporting events or the Boys and Girls Club, whatever it is? We look for companies who are going to come here and be a part of the community. So I was really happy to hear you say that. But for those of you who don't know all that stuff, it is something that we hold them accountable for and is part of the economic development agreement. I just want to get that out on the record.
Thank you, Mr. Thurston.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? Madam President,
Mr. Davis?
I move to approve resolution RC-11-25.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution RC-11-25 as presented. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0.
Madam President,
Mr. Davis?
I move to approve resolution RC-12-25.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution RC-12-25 as presented. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome to Noblesville. Council to consider resolution RC-6-25, a resolution authorizing the carry forward of encumbrances from the prior budget year. Caitlin Kesner, good evening.
Good evening, Caitlin Kestner, Deputy Controller. Before you is a resolution we bring annually to carry forward prior year encumbrances that were not completed during that prior year and will continue into the current year. These items were included in the prior year budget and were either expected to take more than 1 year or experience various timing delays. Encumbrances only last for 1 calendar year, for the calendar year in which they are made, unless council takes this action, which I'm asking for here, to allow them to carry forward into the following year. One example of an encumbrance on this list is a maintenance department encumbrance for the building management system installation. This is an example of a project that we expected to take more than a year. Another example is an economic development facade grant, which was awarded in 2024, but the grantee's project had delays, and therefore we have not yet paid out that award. The total amount of the encumbrances is approximately $8.3 million. It is important to note that of that amount, $2.5 million relates to American Rescue Plan Act Fund encumbrances, and that entire amount was required to be encumbered last year and carry forward until the projects are completed by December 31st, 2026 at the latest, in order for us to maintain those grant funds. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I don't have any
Ms.
questions,
Gessner?
just a comment. We went over this in Finance Committee, and I really appreciate the amount of work that you guys do to put this in to close the books. This is something that, as a business owner, you do every year without even thinking about it, but it's a step that we have to take as a city. So I appreciate the transparency and you guys doing the hard work to close it up.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Madam President,
Mr. Davis?
I move to approve resolution RC-6-25.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve Resolution RC-6-25 as presented. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Council to consider Resolution RC-8-25, a resolution approving a transfer of real property. Ms. Reed, good evening.
Surprise. I'm going to try to install this PowerPoint as I'm speaking here. Good evening, Sarah Reed, Community Development Director for the record. I am here tonight to present to you the proposed transfer of 723 South Fifth Street to Greater Indianapolis Habitat for Humanity on behalf of Jamie Thompson, who has done all of the work since this property has been purchased many years ago, it feels like. As some of you may recall, this parcel was initially included in the Pleasant Street project, but was later deemed unnecessary for construction. While previous efforts to rehabilitate the site through hand were unsuccessful due to floodplain constraints, we now have an opportunity to create a positive impact through Habitat for Humanity. This transfer aligns with our shared commitment to expanding housing opportunities here in Noblesville. By subdividing this parcel, Habitat will create 2 new homes for first-time buyers earning below 80% of the area median income. This provides a much-needed path to home ownership for residents who live and work in Hamilton County. The terms of this agreement ensure accountability. Habitat must demo this building within 90 days and complete that demolition within 180 days, and the construction of the home within 5 years. Homes, multiple homes. Should these deadlines not be met, this property then just returns back to the city of Noblesville for ownership and our responsible development moving forward there. So if I can get this PowerPoint pulled up, which it looks like it's close, I would like to invite Ted Mosey, Chief Operating Officer, and Chris Barnett, Land Acquisition and Development Director with Habitat for Humanity, to provide some overview of who they are and what they're here for tonight.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
If you please come forward and introduce yourself and give an address.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ted Mosey. I'm the Chief Operating Officer with Greater Indy Habitat. Our address is 3135 North Meridian Street in Indianapolis. It's my honor to be able to share. I'm going to share for just a moment about the work that Habitat is doing, and then Chris is going to share a little bit about this project in particular. But in case you don't know, I was going to give you just a couple fun facts about Habitat. So we have been working in central Indiana for 37 years. Last year, we completed 34 homes. This year, we'll complete at least 34 homes again. We have built 866 homes regionally to provide affordable homeownership, and 79 of those have been in Hamilton County over that time. We took the honor of being the 15th largest home builder in our area. according to the Indianapolis Business Journal last year. And as you probably know, this is made possible because of generous volunteers, community support, of course, land donations and partnerships that help bring the cost down. We sell homes at an affordable price off of the appraised value of the home, but the thing that most people don't know is that we sell the homes with a 0% affordable mortgage. So that's truly the secret for us to be able to maintain affordability in our work. See if I can advance the slide. Is there a clicker? Do I press the number? Oh, there we go. All right. So we work in the county area here: Hamilton, Hendricks, Hancock, Marion, and Shelby counties. And just a little bit about our process. So we are a regulated mortgage company, if you did not know that. So we underwrite and originate all the mortgages. As such, people come to us with an application. We ensure that they're qualified in the process. After completing the application and being accepted, they do education with Habitat. So we work on budgets. We talk through first-time home ownership, home maintenance. And then, of course, the part that everybody knows, the sweat equity, where we get out and we raise the walls and do the fun part of building the home. Once it's done, there is an affordable mortgage on the property, and then they are then homeowners. So a little bit about who we work with and some of the numbers around that. So we work with families under 80% of the median income. So right now, 80% or under 80% in Hamilton County is $82,300 if you're a family of four. So if you can maybe put in your mind, we all know people who make $82,300 or below that are a family of four, and that's exactly who we get the privilege to be able to walk alongside and help them achieve their dream of home ownership. So with that, typically the general rule of thumb, right, is you purchase a house for 3 times your income. You don't want to exceed 30% of your income, what you're paying on a mortgage. And right now, that would, for a family of four making $61,000, which is 60%, that would be about $185,000 mortgage. There's not a whole lot of $185,000 houses in the market, and certainly in Hamilton County right now. The average median home price is $450,000. So you see there's a $264,000 gap in what is affordable versus what is actually out on the market. And we are really excited, to be able to, we work with more teachers, we're working with more public servants, we're working with people who are just having a hard time breaking in and buying a first-time home. And we are really thrilled at the opportunity of perhaps building a couple homes. And Chris is going to share a little bit more about that.
Thanks. I'm Chris Barnett. I also work for Habitat, as Ted mentioned, and my office is in the same place as his. Here's, oops, arrow. There we go. Whoops, too far. There's the site as it sits now. Some of you have probably seen it recently. Google was nice enough to drive by in August. So other than the green trees, I imagine it looks about the same today. It's a dilapidated house and garage. It sits on a lot and a half, which for us is sufficient to build 2 of our homes. And this is the model of home that would fit on the site. I'll explain why that is. We obviously have different elevations, just like every builder, and different colors of siding and all of those good features that are available. But these are 3-bedroom, 2-story homes that would fit in an old town kind of neighborhood. There's a sort of cartoon illustration of the site stolen from the Hamilton County GIS. You can see that the majority of these lots are in the floodplain. And as we don't like to make our homeowners live in a place where they might get flooded out, we will scoot the houses clear up to the front, like the other houses on the block are. There's a house just to the south, right along the property line, that looks like it sits about 5 feet back of the sidewalk, and the church up at the other corner sits about the same. So to to keep our friends in the planning and zoning department happy, we'll gladly adopt that same front building line for both of our homes. And, you know, that was sort of the building plan. This is to demonstrate to you that we do what we say we'll do. These are the 2 duplexes at 14th and Division Street that we've completed in 2023 and 2024 for 4 new residents of 4 new families living in Noblesville. And we think they're attractive homes. We think they fit in well with the neighborhood, and somehow we picked the sunniest day of fall to get the real estate picture of it, and that's one we'll share proudly with anyone. So if you have any questions, either for Ted about the process or for me about what we'll build and when we'll try to build it, we'll take them now.
Thank you. Any questions?
On your photo of the moving the buildings up, it looked like you're pursuing a LOMAR or you have a LOMAR? The LOMAR to move it out of the floodplain, move the floodplain back? Is that how that affects
They're
your
not
90 days?
actually building in the floodplain.
Okay,
The-
it looked
And
like
Denise has reviewed these plans as the floodplain administrator,
Okay,
the preliminary plans.
thank you.
Other questions? Mr. Smith?
I imagine that your list of potential applicants is pretty long. What does that look like right now for you guys, just broadly?
Yeah, it would not be hard to find homeowners for these homes. Yeah, we have a wait list, especially in Hamilton County, for people wanting to pursue homeownership with us.
Do people currently have to live in Hamilton County in
They
order to
do.
qualify?
Yep,
Okay.
that's one of the prerequisites.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I just want to say I appreciate you taking this on. We had, you know, an inventory because of Pleasant Street, and this is a great project. I appreciate you taking it on.
Yeah, thanks.
Madam President, just for
Mr. Hughes.
the record, we originally, as Sarah mentioned, we're transferring this property to hand, and the council wisely wanted a number of restrictions in place to make sure the project would happen. Unfortunately, that project didn't happen, which is why we're here, but Habitat has agreed to basically the same type of restrictions tailored to their project, so if for some reason this project doesn't happen, the city would retain control of the property. So we feel very confident they'll do the project they've said, but we put those same protections in place.
Okay, thank you.
Restrictions that I think were courtesy of Brian Ayer.
Right. Thanks, Ed.
It's the only reason I said that for the record,
Yeah, right.
because he was here.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Davis.
I move to approve Resolution RC-8-25.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to approve Resolution RC-8-25 as presented. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will move on to previously discussed ordinance. Council to consider ordinance number 02-01-25, an ordinance approving an additional appropriation in the Park Fund to satisfy Indiana Department of Local Government Finance technical requirement for the 2025 Civil City Adopted Budget. Mr. McDonald.
Madam President, members of the council, Tom McDonald, Deputy Financial Officer. So this additional appropriation serves as a technical adjustment to reconcile the budget that you adopted last October to the certified budget that was approved by the Indiana Department of Local Government Finance. So the budget that we reported last fall to DLGF did not include a $1.6 million appropriation from the Park Fund that ended up being included in the budget. And because of this, and to meet their certification requirements, we now need to reappropriate that funding. It is a technical adjustment. It will not increase the budget beyond what you've already approved. It's just to meet the reporting requirements. And then just a last note that we discussed this ordinance at the last council meeting, and no changes have been made to it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from Mr. McDonald? This is a matter for a public hearing, so I would go ahead and open the public hearing for ordinance number 02-01-25.
Madam President,
Mr. Davis.
I move to close the public hearing, seeing nobody came forward for ordinance 02-01-25.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to close the public hearing for ordinance number 02-01-25. And seconded, all those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0.
Madam President,
Mr. Davis.
I move to approve ordinance 02-01-25.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 02-01-25. This is a roll call vote. Ms. Lees, will you call the roll?
Mr. Boyce?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Elliott?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Peterson?
Aye.
Mr. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Thurston?
Aye.
Ms. Wiles?
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 nays, the ordinance is approved.
Thank you very much. Moving on to our proposed development presentation. I believe Mayor Jensen would like to introduce this as well.
Good evening yet again, Madam President, twice in one night. Great to be with you. Just speaks to the exciting news in Noblesville. I'm here tonight to introduce a project that we were able to announce last week, and quite frankly, it's a project we have worked on for several years. So many of you who have been on the council are well aware of the land on the east side of Noblesville. And you know it's a big night in Noblesville when you have 3 of the 4 Hinkie family members here tonight. Although I would say their mom's probably their best asset, was smart enough to stay home tonight. I am excited to introduce Gatewood Lakes to you all. This is a master plan community on the city's far east side by the Hinkie Development Group, a renowned custom home and high-end community developer. It's designed as a golf cart community. Gatewood Lakes will offer single-family homes, townhomes, multifamily homes, and 2.5 miles of shoreline along the community's lake district. And if you've driven up Oleo Road, you're probably wondering how that lake's going to get there. I'm going to leave that to them to go over that with you. This offers a unique living environment for current and future residents of Noblesville. The Hinkie Group has designed a community that will provide opportunities to enjoy nature, shoreline, and first-class amenity. Located near and actually just north of Noblesville's Innovation Mile on our city's growing east side, Gatewood Lakes will bring a variety of housing options, recreational activities, and a vibrant community to enhance the quality of life of its future residents. So I'm excited to have them touch on some key points and present this project to you. I will just say that ever since we announced this project last week, it's been great to get feedback from the community around many questions about a project, especially of this magnitude in an area of the city that's really not developed today. One of them is always around traffic, and I wanted to kind of address that before they got up here today. You all know that you have appropriated over the last several years quite a bit of funds to look at our north to south arteries on the east side of Noblesville. So currently Bowden Road and Oleo Road are both undergoing major infrastructure studying and planned upgrades. That was done with projects like Gatewood Lakes in mind. So we'll continue to not just look at the north to south arteries, but the east to west arteries on our city's east side. So I'm proud of the investment and appreciate all that you guys have set aside looking ahead, knowing that the growth on the east side of Noblesville is coming. I'll also note that this project will fall within the Hamilton Southeastern School District. Noblesville is home to 2 great public school districts, Noblesville Schools and Hamilton Southeastern Schools. We are regularly in contact, actually met with Mr. Mapes, their superintendent, last week to go over this project, so they are fully aware of the growth potential. Actually really looking forward to some growth potential on the east side as they've seen quite a bit of declining enrollment in the HSE school district. So kind of wanted to touch on those 2 points. Those are always key points that the public is always curious about with a project of this nature. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Price and the Hinkie Development team to go over Gatewood Lakes, but appreciate their investment and your consideration tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, Mr. Price, before you come up, you can come up. I need to formally introduce this, so I apologize.
Oh.
I skipped that part.
That's on you.
It is on me, yes. So council is to hear an introductory information for a preliminary development plan for approximately 1,137 acres for a mixed-use development that includes single-family residential, 2-family residential, multifamily residential, townhomes, urban-style mixed-use, commercial, and office, to be known as Gatewood Lakes Planned Development, adjacent to Oleo Road, 156th Street, Cynthia Ann Road, and 146th Street. Mr. Price.
Madam President, members of the council, thank you so much for the opportunity tonight to discuss this very exciting project, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that wonderfully energetic and well-delivered introduction. I do have really the honor and privilege of representing Hinkie Development Group, and so if I may, I'd like to introduce the members of that team who are here this evening. First of all, Mr. Steve Hinkie, to his left, Brad Hinkie, Betsy Hinkie Garfield here as well, and Clint Cushman, and Doug Fleener as well. Sorry, Doug. Don't want to leave out Doug. all very important members of the team, and each one of us, depending on the area of a question you may have, is available to answer any questions that you have. And I should, I guess I'm assuming you probably don't know necessarily who I am, but I'm Matt Price and represent Hinkie, and I'm here with my colleague Suzanne Baker. And we have the very fortunate role of putting the Hinkie's vision into words in a planned unit development ordinance, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about tonight. First off, I'd like to just give you kind of an overview of where the property is relative to some key landmarks, and then we can talk about some of the details that I think are particularly exciting. So first off, it is a large land area and allows for master planning on a considerable scale. To give you the boundaries generally, on the west is Oleo Road. To the north is 156th Street. It does extend a little bit further north of 156th Street on the far northeast side. To the south, down to 141st Street. And then on our east side, it extends all the way to Prairie Baptist Road, and then further east to Cynthia Ann Road on the far eastern area where it abuts with Mud Creek in the far east and southeast portion of the project. The project is divided into 6 what we call use blocks, or areas where we're building the project to have a cohesive, attractive development. And it's anchored by the central location, which we refer to as Gatewood Landing. And that's the area, the core part of the project, that is built around a centralized, picturesque lake. Then immediately adjacent to Gatewood Landing is our recreational area, which we refer to as the residential club amenities. And those are the resort-style amenities that are a key feature of the project that are located in that centralized area as well. The next area, kind of extending out from Gatewood Landing, is what we call Isleworth, which is a mixture of diverse housing options. It also creates a nice transition between the marketplace, which is the village community to the southwest, that's in the maroon type color, and the lakeside and homes that are surrounding the lake and on the island to the central portion of the project. Then to the far east, we have what we're referring to as Garden Park, which is an age-targeted, active lifestyle, low-maintenance portion of the community. And then the far southern area in the orangish hue there is what we're referring to as Heritage Commons. And it'll have a diverse mixture of retail with a real active environment with dining and entertainment options. Give you some idea of the amenities and improvements that are contemplated. Let me share a few character exhibits. This gives you an idea of some of the recreational aspects that are inspiring for the project. The Hinkies have traveled to various communities around the country to draw inspiration and build and improve upon what other areas have done. This gives you some idea of the outdoor aspects and the vibrancy of the community that they're envisioning here. And again, some more character exhibits along those lines with a real emphasis on recreation, outdoors, amenities, and active lifestyle. You see the pickleball courts in the upper corner there. And a big part of the layout for the project is bringing community members together to celebrate festivals together and build traditions with one another in the community. This gives you some ideas of venues that will be located throughout the development for just that sort of activity. And then these are depictions of some of the areas within each one of the use blocks. This is depictions of the marketplace, which is a village-type atmosphere. These are a number of the home options that are located in the neighborhoods throughout the community. Giving some additional examples there. A key aspect of the project is the diversity of housing options that are woven together into a coherent project. Then this gives some idea of the particular type of uses in Heritage Commons, where there's some more retail options located there to activate that part of the project. That, I think, brings us to our conclusion. I would, just to let you know procedurally kind of what we have in store with our development team, we meet tomorrow evening with the neighborhoods surrounding the project. We've had ongoing dialogue with a number of our neighbors, but this is an opportunity to have a more formal community outreach. The feedback, as the mayor was saying, has been very positive, and we've exchanged information in advance of that meeting and look forward to having an opportunity to sit down with individual property owners in the vicinity and answer their questions and provide more detail. And then we're scheduled to be before the Plan Commission at its next regularly scheduled meeting on February 18th. We're happy to answer any questions that you have and appreciate the opportunity to introduce this exciting project tonight. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Questions, Mr. Price, or anyone from the family? Mr. Peterson?
I assume it's a walkable community. How far is this from the event center to, say, the residential, the amenity center?
As far as, it is designed to be walkable, bicycles, golf carts. As far as a precise distance, I don't know about a half mile, I'm told by Steve. Yeah, so very close proximity.
Okay. Other questions? Oh, Mr. Boyce first.
Go ahead. I'm guessing with the lake, the size of it, no motorized vehicles, boats, any of that kind of stuff, no hydrofoils with motors, is that, or what are we looking at?
That's correct. Yeah. Some of the depictions show kayaks,
Yeah.
kind of.
All of those have got motors on them now, though, so that's why I was curious. I mean, pretty much everything does anymore, even the foils.
Mr. Johnson?
We often talk about investment dollars, and as large projects come before council, an estimate of what kind of total investment you're looking at in this project?
Yeah, we think it will approach $2 billion in total investment. I can tell you from my history representing Mr. Hinkie is that we've always been very conservative providing those estimates, and so I've had the opportunity to look back and kind of conduct our own internal audits to see whether what we represented turned out to be accurate. And I can tell you that we set the expectations at a modest level and then work very hard to surpass those, and that's been my experience with Mr. Hinkie, and I have no reason to believe that won't be the case here as well.
Madam President?
Yeah.
I don't know who on staff wants to take this one for us, but I love some of the architecture in there. When do we see some of the specifics of what that looks like on our end?
Yeah, sure. So much of this is contained in the PUD, which is going to be introduced to Plan Commission next week. So we've seen those details. I did have a conversation with Matt earlier this week, just talking through some of those details, making sure the language is right. I can say from speaking on behalf of the staff, won't speak for the mayor, but for staff in general, we know the type of quality that the Hinkie team brings. We've seen it in other communities in Hamilton County and elsewhere, so we know that the architectural standards that they bring to the table are higher than we might see in other communities, and so we're confident we're going to have that here as well. And I was talking to Matt about just how do we give that assurance given that this has so many different pockets, and so we're working on that. We also understand we want this to be custom and to let the Hinkie I guess, touch be added. So we want it to be flexible, but also tight enough that we have standards we can give to you. So you'll see those before the 25th.
Awesome, thank you.
I never thought I'd approve an island in Noblesville, but I appreciate the uniqueness and with your other projects that we're familiar with around Hamilton County, I appreciate the effort here, and this is extremely unique and exciting for Noblesville. Thank you.
And I will say, I know that the quality of your other projects are spectacular, so I'm hoping that we will have that same level of quality for this project as well. So, thank you. Great. Anyone else?
One
Yes.
last thing. Is this the final branding for the community, or will that continue to undergo some changes as we move forward?
I wouldn't say necessarily it's the final branding. I mean,
Sure.
I think that their items are refined as the project moves forward, but this is a good sense of it for sure.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. We will look forward to seeing you when you come back before council.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to new ordinances for discussion. Council to consider ordinance number 03-02-25, an ordinance to reestablish the fire cumulative capital fund tax rate and establishing a public hearing.
Move to introduce.
Second.
Mr. Spalding, good evening.
Madam President, members of the council, Jeff Spalding, CFO and Controller. And this item, I guess the best way to characterize it is, I suppose, it's the official first step in the 2026 budget process. So,
Already
again,
we're beginning.
yeah, again, in accordance with Indiana code, there are lots of, structured processes that local units have to go through in building their budget, building their funding, so on and so forth. One of those is related to this fund, which is the Fire Cumulative Capital Fund. And based on requirements in Indiana law, they have established a maximum tax rate for the fund. However, to maintain the flexibility to set the tax rate for that fund during the budget process up to the maximum, you have to take this action each year, kind of reestablishing the council's preference to be able to have access to that maximum rate for this fund. So this really just is setting the stage, but at the end of the day, it has no material effect on the overall tax levy, tax rate for the city. That's all that is established by other controls, and the council has historically established a maximum tax rate overall for the city, and this is within that overall maximum. So all this action does is give you flexibility on how you allocate that tax rate across different funds. And just seeking your approval to move forward with that.
Any questions for Mr. Spalding?
This is another one that we talked about in Finance Committee. I appreciate the depth that you guys go in there to explain that practice.
Madam President,
Mr. Davis?
I move to establish a public hearing for ordinance 03-2-25 at the February 25th meeting.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to establish a public hearing for ordinance number 03-02-25 at the February 25th meeting. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. Thank you. See you then. Council to consider ordinance number 04-02-25, an ordinance annexing approximately 1,137 acres in Wayne Township, and resolution RC-7-25, adopting a fiscal plan for property adjacent to Oleo Road, 156th Street, Cynthia Ann Road, and 146th Street, and establishing a public hearing.
Move to introduce.
Second.
Joyce Ann Yelton.
Good evening. This again is an introduction to a super voluntary annexation. It has 100% of the property owners have applied for this annexation. It is an annexation of approximately 1,033 acres. That is slightly smaller than the presentation that was just given by the Gatewood individuals, but a portion of the property already does exist within the city of Noblesville, and that is this southern portion in this area here. So we are basically proposing the annexation of roughly 1,033 acres. Again, it is to be known as a Gatewood Planned Development. We would request that the public hearing be set for your meeting on March 11th. And at that time, if we have the public hearing, we will consider the resolution. adopting the fiscal analysis, and then return at your March 25th meeting for a final vote on the actual annexation ordinance. With that, I will ask if you have any questions.
Just curious, when we annexed south of 141st Street, was that brought into Innovation Mile? It's part of that piece?
No, it's part of the corporate campus.
Okay, thank you.
I assume we anticipate, excuse me.
Go ahead.
I assume we anticipate infilling of the open parcels there.
I'm sorry?
Assume we anticipate infilling of the open parcels that we see, with the little carve-outs.
Yeah, well, these two little areas here that are basically, the little red areas are not a part of the annexation. And I'm not annexing them. I just want to make that perfectly clear.
No, I understand it, I understand it.
Other questions?
Madam President,
Mr. Davis?
I move to establish a public hearing for ordinance 0402-25 at the March 11th meeting.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to establish a public hearing for ordinance number 04-02-25 at the March 11th meeting. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 9-0. All right, we will see you then. Thank you all. And that concludes our agenda for this evening. Any council comments?
Madam President, I had only one comment, please. Very pleased to announce that at this morning's Board of Public Works, we approved the selection of the Garmong and GM development team for the new police station. We've had several months of exhaustive, under the leadership of Mr. Light, several members of staff, members of the police department and the FOP, went through, again, many meetings and interviews with 6 very qualified development teams, and we were able to come to a consensus on the Garmong and GM development pairing. And the approval this morning from Board of Public Works allows the contracts to begin to move forward with that recommendation. And I appreciate the opportunity to have represented the council and hope in coming months to be able to share more and more good news regarding a very important project to the city. Thank you.
Great, yes. Anyone else? If not, then we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.